Some games you play for the gameplay. Some you play for the competition. But then there are games you play for the story, and those hit completely differently. We're talking narratives that pull you in so deep you forget you're even holding a controller. Characters so well written you genuinely grieve when something happens to them. Endings that sit with you for days, weeks, sometimes years after the final credits roll. A truly great story game isn't just entertainment, it's an experience, the kind that makes you recommend it to everyone you know and never stop thinking about long after it's over. Gaming has produced some of the most powerful stories ever told in any medium, and today we're celebrating the very best of them. These are 20 story games so good they will genuinely change the way you think about what games can be. Let's get into it.
Yes, the launch was rough. Everybody knows. But we're in 2026 now, and that conversation is over because what Cyberpunk 2077 is today is one of the best sci-fi stories in gaming, period. Night City is a place that hates you, and you love it anyway. Your character V is dying with a relic in their head, slowly replacing their personality with a dead rock star named Johnny Silverhand, played by Keanu Reeves, who is genuinely great in this, by the way. The story is about legacy, about what you leave behind when you know the clock is ticking, about the choices you make when every choice has a cost. The Phantom Liberty expansion added one of the best single-player DLC stories in years. If you haven't revisited this since launch, it is a completely different, completely worth it experience now. Every frame of this game looks like a painting. That's not an exaggeration. It genuinely looks like a painting. But the story is what keeps you. Ghost of Tsushima is about Jin Sakai, a samurai trying to protect his island from a Mongol invasion that his training wasn't built to handle. The traditional warrior's code says fight with honor, face to face, in the open. The reality of this war says that code will get everyone killed. So the question the whole game is asking is simple. Who are you when the rules you built your identity around stop working? Jin becomes the Ghost, a fighter who strikes from shadows, uses fear as a weapon, and wins. But at what cost? And can a man who breaks his own code ever find his way back? The game earns every answer it gives. Here's one that will permanently change how you think about what a game can be. Nier Automata ends, credits roll, and then, if you start a new game, the story continues and changes and gets deeper. There are multiple full playthroughs, each revealing something that recontextualizes everything before it. By the time you've seen everything this game wants to show you, you will have gone through despair and back. You play as androids fighting for humanity that may not exist anymore on a post-apocalyptic Earth run by machines. But director Yoko Taro isn't actually interested in the war. He's interested in the question underneath it. What makes a life worth living when the reason you were built is gone? It's philosophy dressed up as an action game, and the action is brilliant too. There is no combat in Disco Elysium, no action sequences, no boss fights. Just you, your completely broken detective, and the most extraordinary writing in the history of the medium. You wake up with no memory of who you are. You are deeply, professionally, cosmically bad at your job, and somehow you have to solve a murder. But here's what makes it different. Your own thoughts are characters. Electrochemistry, your lizard brain, will try to get you to drink more. Inland Empire, your instinct, will speak to you in dreams and hunches. Encyclopedia won't shut up. And all of them can be right or wrong depending on the situation. It's about political ideology, grief, failure, and what a city does to its people. It's the most ambitious thing a video game has tried, and it lands almost every single time. I don't think any game in recent years has been this weird, this confident, and this completely unlike anything else. Alan Wake 2 won Best Narrative, Best Art Direction, and Best Game Direction at the Game Awards, and it deserved all three. Alan Wake is a horror author trapped inside a dark alternate dimension for over a decade, trying to write his way out. FBI agent Saga Anderson is hunting a serial killer in the real world.
The two stories are intertwined in ways that keep escalating until you're genuinely not sure what's real anymore. Remedy are the best studio in the world right now at blending live action footage with gameplay. There's a sequence in the middle of this game, you'll know it when you hit it, that is unlike anything you've ever seen in a video game. Full stop. There's a reason this became an HBO series, a reason it's still being talked about years later. The Last of Us is the closest gaming has ever gotten to a film that you actually live inside. The first game follows Joel, a man hollowed out by loss, and Ellie, a teenager who might be humanity's only hope. Their relationship starts cold and becomes something that will genuinely wreck you by the end. Part 2 is harder, darker. It asks you to step into the shoes of someone you might not want to understand, and then it forces you to. People were angry when it came out, some still are, but it's one of the bravest stories ever told in this medium. You don't just play these games, you carry them around with you for a while after. Game of the Year 2023, and honestly, it wasn't close. Baldur's Gate 3 drops you into a Dungeons & Dragons world with a parasite in your brain and basically no plan. From there, the game just lets you do whatever you want. And I mean that. The branching in this story is genuinely insane. I've put over 100 hours in and I'm still finding conversations and quest paths that I completely missed. Every companion has a full arc. Shadowheart's story alone could be its own game. Astarion is one of the most well-written characters in recent memory. The voice acting is a step above anything we normally get. What Larian built here is a world that actually responds to who you are, your race, your class, your past decisions. It's not smoke and mirrors. The story literally changes, multiple times. Before 2018, God of War was a game about a rage-fueled Greek god smashing everything in sight. Then, Santa Monica Studio did something nobody expected. They slowed everything down, handed Kratos a son named Atreus, and turned it into a story about fatherhood. The entire game is one continuous shot. No cuts, no loading screens hidden behind doors. You are never pulled out of this world. And the relationship between Kratos, this broken, closed-off man, and Atreus, who is curious and loud and desperately wants his dad's approval, it's uncomfortable in the best possible way. Kratos spent his whole life defined by violence. Now he's trying to raise a boy and hoping history doesn't repeat itself. It's the kind of story that hits differently depending on where you are in life, and that's rare. This one. This is the one that blindsided everybody last year, and I don't think the conversation around it has slowed down at all. Clear Obscure Expedition 33 is a French indie RPG from a team that nobody had heard of, and it released and immediately became one of the most talked about games in years. The premise is striking. Every year, a being called the Paintress wakes up and paints a number, and everyone that age dies. The world just accepts it. Expedition 33 is the group of people who decide to go fight her. The story goes places you will not see coming. The combat is some of the best turn-based fighting ever made. And the emotional gut punch in the third act, no spoilers, but clear your schedule. This is what gaming looks like right now at its absolute peak. Over 10 years now, and still the bar that every open-world RPG gets measured against. The Witcher 3. You're Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter who doesn't really want to be a hero, searching for his adopted daughter Ciri across a world that is genuinely at war. Not fake video game war. Cities burned, refugees starving, people making impossible choices just to survive. What makes this game special is that nothing is clean. Every quest, even the small ones, feels like it was written by someone who actually thought about consequences. You make a decision, and 3 hours later, the game reminds you about it in a way you didn't see coming. 2 DLCs are included, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, and both of them could stand alone as great games. This is the full package. Okay, let's start with a game that genuinely changed what people thought was possible in video game storytelling, Red Dead Redemption 2.
You play as Arthur Morgan, an outlaw, a killer, and honestly one of the most human characters ever written in a game. The Vanderlyn gang is falling apart around him. Loyalty is being tested every single day, and Arthur is stuck right in the middle, trying to figure out what he actually believes in. What gets me every time is that this isn't just a story you watch, you live it. You hunt, you camp, you talk to strangers at the fire, the world breathes around you. And by the end, and I'm not spoiling anything, this game will hit you in the chest in a way that very few stories in any medium ever do. If you've never played it, fix that tonight. 100 hours, at minimum, and you will not feel a single wasted one. Persona 5 Royal is about a group of high school students who discover they can enter a supernatural cognitive world, a place where the distorted desires of corrupt adults take physical form as palaces, and they decide to become phantom thieves, breaking into those palaces and stealing the corrupt hearts inside them. It sounds wild, and it is, but the game is also deeply interested in systems of power. Who gets to be believed? Who gets crushed when they speak up? Why adults fail young people? It hits hard, especially right now. The characters are incredible. The style is unlike anything else in gaming. The music is in its own category entirely. And the Royal Edition adds a final arc that recontextualizes the whole game in the best possible way. This is a lifestyle, not just a game.
If you played the original Final Fantasy VII as a kid, this game will do something to you. And if you never played it, you'll understand why people have been emotional about this franchise for 30 years. Rebirth is the second part of Square Enix's trilogy remake of the 1997 classic, and it goes much further than anyone expected. This isn't just a prettier version of the old story. It's actively doing something new with it, asking what happens if things could go differently, and that question carries real weight when you already know the original. Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, Barrett, these characters feel completely alive. The relationship between Cloud and the rest of the group, the question of his reliability as a narrator, the moments you get in Gold Saucer, it's a lot of game, and most of it is genuinely wonderful.
The 2018 game asked, can a man change? Ragnarok answers that question. Kratos and Atreus are now living in hiding in Fimbulwinter, the 3-year winter that signals the end of the Norse age. Atreus wants answers. Kratos wants to protect his son, and the gods want them dead. What this game does brilliantly is give every major character, including the ones you're supposed to hate, a real reason for what they're doing. Odin isn't a cartoon villain. Thor isn't pure evil. Even the characters who do terrible things have a logic to them that makes the whole conflict feel genuinely tragic. And then there's Kratos, in the final act finally becoming the thing his son always believed he could be. I won't say more. Just know that the ending of this game is one of the best in PlayStation history.
On the surface, robot dinosaurs, girl with a bow, open world. That's what the trailers sold. What the game actually is, one of the most clever science fiction mysteries in years. Aloy is an outcast in a tribal society who has never been told why. The world is overgrown, ancient technology is scattered everywhere, and machines roam the land like animals. The story peels back the truth layer by layer, and every reveal genuinely lands because the groundwork was laid so carefully. By the time you understand what happened to the old world and why Aloy exists, and I mean really understand it, your jaw will be on the floor. This game respects your intelligence. It doesn't over-explain. It trusts you to pay attention. It's proof that a great story idea executed with patience beats a complicated story every single time.